Welcome to Fabulous Friday. It is
Fun Friday. Yes.
Fun Friday.
Yes.
And we are approaching something that we absolutely love, and you have on a jacket
Yes.
that says you love number 18.
Yes.
The M&M boy.
Yes,
Okay,
of course,
the M&M
18.
boy. Mm-hmm.
And then underneath I have my, oh, I have a hair.
Oh,
Tyler
darling,
Spears. Tyler Spears. And
Yeah.
he has signed this shirt on the back to his #1 fan.
That's right, that's right.
Yes.
Today is going to be a fast day. We will have to run through everything because we have Richard Jabaley, who has written a wonderful book, Growing Up in Copper Hill, Tennessee. This will teach you a little bit about the olden days when Copper Hill was a heyday. I mean, it was the big to-do. There was a lot going on, and Richard is going to share his memories as a child in Copper Hill. He has a lot of memories there.
Yeah.
He has memories of the day of the flood, and that's something I think that people will still find interesting. If you've ever been there, I have actually walked in buildings that I can tell were involved in the flood because of my allergies.
Yeah.
So it's amazing the bounce back that this town has. Hey,
Have you seen the flooding in California and
Oh, my
the
gosh.
landslides? Because all
my
the
gosh.
fires took all the trees.
we have a
now-
driver who called yesterday, and
It's
he said
terrible.
I have to go 100 miles out of my way because of the weather in California. And we're
Right.
like, excuse me?
Right.
But the mudslides,
Yeah.
last 2 weeks ago, it was dust, terrible dust storms that caused a wreck that killed 9 people, I think, by all
And
told.
last year fires.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Move
You know,
out, y'all. Don't you get it?
Don't you come here, though. I'm telling you, California, we do not have room for y'all.
I mean, at least go to the middle of the country.
yes,
It's awful.
Iowa would be a nice place for y'all to move.
I mean, Omaha,
It is
Nebraska,
so
somewhere.
bad, yeah.
Get out of California. It's going to
Yeah.
fall off.
Yeah.
It's literally falling off.
It is very
you know,
sad.
and then they're waiting, like the big earthquake come to Haiti. I really see the way that California is falling into the ocean, that happening there, and it just all going in.
Well,
It's just
what
bad.
was their insurance agent thinking when they said, go ahead and build those $12 million houses
On the side of a cliff.
on the side of a cliff
Yeah.
that is now in the ocean?
Right.
So used for
Right.
nice housing, environmental things for
Good
fish.
fishing.
So it is weird. The weather is going through some terrible things. Now, Haiti, what a traumatic state of affairs.
And explain to me how, when a bad earthquake is a 5, how can an aftershock be a 6?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't get that.
I don't know.
To me, that's another terrible earthquake.
Well,
You know, they say they're aftershocks, but it's a 6.
yeah, yeah.
That's-
We've
that's an
been
earthquake.
watching doctors leave Atlanta and go there. They have performed amazing surgeries
Yes.
in conditions that are just
Yes.
unbelievable.
One thing I saw yesterday, they were having to amputate a lot of people, and they don't want to do that because the children can't go to school because they can't walk. They'll have
Right.
no future.
Right.
So a lot of the parents are opting to let them get gangrene and die versus taking a limb off because
gosh.
they know then that will be the end of their life. You know, because they'll not be able to do anything.
It is a sad time, but it is also an amazing time when we see the strength America has. Even Simon Cowell is stepping up to the plate and recording a record for fundraising for the Haitian Relief Fund.
And there's a concert tonight.
Absolutely. Everybody is stepping up to the plate. So good job, America. Good job, America. They are doing what they can to save and to help others, and that is what we do best. You know, we have seen that in every aspect of our life. You saw that a little bit last Wednesday. Some folks came out to spend some time with you and to help out. And that was a good thing.
Yes,
you know,
it was.
that was a good thing. We had a good day, and
I can't believe that's been a week already, y'all.
it has a week. It's been 10 days, and
Where
barbecue.
does time go?
And we have to say thank you once again to Gary at Wolf Creek Canyon for the barbecue.
Yes.
It was amazing.
It was very good.
And to Annie, see, I keep telling folks up in the basin, if you haven't had Annie's slaw, you've never had slaw.
And you know what was funny? There was a lot of us that eat our slaw on our barbecue sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a couple of people that said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Putting my slaw on my barbecue, of course, because that's the way you eat it in the South. That's
right.
good stuff."
Put some salad in your mouth.
That's right.
That's it.
Little slaw on your barbecue, and you are set for a
You're
good day.
set. Now, speaking of barbecue, next Wednesday, Bubba Latimer from Barbecue will be with us. He just returned.
Is he bringing samples?
He is. He is. He just returned from an event with the Food Network. He did
Oh,
not
wow.
fare well this time. Last time he actually won this competition. Love his barbecue. Love his barbecue. He's a good guy. But, and Bubba and I've laughed
the one in
about this.
Jasper?
Yes.
He does have good barbecue.
He has great barbecue. But Bubba, go to Annie's and get her to teach you to make slaw. I love Annie's slaw. I'm sorry, Annie's slaw wins the award.
Yep.
Another thing I want to thank Annie for, she has gotten a guy who brought in a bunch of racing memorabilia, and you will love that. We asked him to come and be on the show, but he's a little bit bashful and he wouldn't do it. But he is going to loan us a lot of his cars, and you can go by Annie's. If you're a big collector, you're a number 18 collector, I'm a number 88 and number 3 collector. These cars are available at Annie's.
What 88?
I just still like him, but I will say, I saw a story with him this week, and I was not impressed at the way he ended it. I don't like his party attitude.
Have you seen how scruffy he looked last week at Daytona?
Yes.
He looked like a podunk.
So I'm not his number 1 fan now, although I love Dale
And he
Sr.
says, I won't get married because I've got too much fun to have. And I'm
yeah, I don't like his attitude.
No.
I do not like his attitude. And Dale Jr., you're probably losing your biggest fan. I loved his father. I loved his father. And that's one of the things at Annie's that caught my attention to this memorabilia. They had one of his dad's cars.
Yeah.
So if you are a true race fan and you want a bargain, they're $5 to $10 down at Annie's, and they belong to a gentleman from up here in Blue Ridge.
He's selling them?
He is.
Oh, wow.
But he belongs to, he just has tons of old Dale, You see, old Dale is my age. Old Dale has a lot of his memorabilia too, and we're going to be talking about that in the near future.
Go
a lot
Kyle.
of you, go Kyle, yeah, go Eminem. A lot of you love racing.
He took Nationwide last year. He's going to take the Cup this year, and then I'll give him the trucks the next year.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, we'll see. Today is going to be a fast day. We are going to move right along. Right now we're going to our sponsors and to the community calendar. Today we have guests who will be talking about Pickens County, about Copper Hill, Tennessee, and about Woodstock, Georgia, where Tyler Spears, the really good race car driver, totaled his car on ice.
I know.
So what about that? You know, it doesn't matter how good you drive.
On a weekend he had to race.
Yeah.
How nerve-wracking is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, wreck on Friday night and then you got to race on Sunday.
No
good. Pressure.
Not good. Well, right now we are going to take a break and go to our sponsors, the community calendar, and the obits. Let's get all that in before we start, because today is going to be a busy, busy, fast day.
Fast day.
We're back. Welcome to North Georgia Now Today. Today is a day we are beginning the first of the year. With the first of the year come hopes, high expectations. I think things are going to be better. I see positive things in our future, and I see things happening for the good this year. Now, Rob Jones is joining us, and we're not going to give you his title yet, because one of the questions today, the trivia question, is, what does Robert Jones do for a living? Tell me what he does, and you will win a copy of We'll Have a Good Time with, We'll Have a Good Time in the Lord, Angel Spirit, the Barker Brothers, the Diplomats, Archie Watkins, and Leah Sinyard. There you go. We're going to talk about the things that change our lifestyle. This year, our lifestyles all changed. The economy kind of went to tanked a little bit.
Boy, it did.
Did you see a little bit of that, Rob?
I saw it coming probably about 2 years ago. We saw it in the economy and what everything was doing, and at that time we had took action to the fact that people that were retiring or moving out for one reason or another in county government we weren't hiring back in those places.
Now, cutbacks, did it change how you're doing your job?
No, it did not change. It might slow our response time down to working on some roads or putting water lines in, but overall it hasn't really changed the overall aspect of government. And we're about 16% behind on employment there on our staff.
And that's good. That's a good thing. If you
is.
saw the cutback and you needed to do it and you took care of it. So, now what about right now? Is there any hiring going on?
Not in the county, not that I know of. Now, of course, if there's a firefighter position or EMT or a 911 position, we have to keep those positions filled. But other than that, no, we're not hiring anybody back this time.
Okay, what is happening with tax revenue collection?
At the last count we had, we were at 82% of collections. What I got notified through Sharon Trogdon's office, which puts us about somewhere around $5 million that we still like getting collected from Pickens County. Now, keep in mind those numbers were not just strictly 09 numbers. They go all the way back to 06, 07. There is some individuals that haven't paid their taxes in 06, 07, and 08, and those numbers were, of course, rolled into the 09 numbers also. So. It's around 82%, and it's still there's still people still trying to keep pay their taxes.
Well, as your job, do you understand that people are struggling to put groceries on their table?
That's very much so the statement that everybody needs to be making.
I don't think it's the fact that they're trying not to pay their taxes. They don't have the money. You have a choice: feed your family or pay your taxes.
And that is correct. It is. It's tough times. Fortunately, the state, along with some federal assistance, has kicked in to help extend the unemployment insurance that everybody's been using, but it's been a help.
Now talk about the state of Georgia. What are they doing to cut corners that cost Pickens County money?
Well, what they've done, the biggest thing they've done to really set Pickens County back was the fact about a year and a half, 2 years ago, all DOT funds were pretty well stopped.
Right.
Any LARP projects, any local assistance to build roads and help maintain roads have completely stopped. We got a little bit of trickle last year, or the end of last year, for a couple of roads to get resurfaced. Of course, the weather moved in on us, and it pretty well stopped it anyway.
Right.
But all in all, it has pretty well, anything for roads, any money's coming from the state has pretty well stopped. Now, of course, we are going to go down and talk to the commissioner, and the governor has reset it up to the fact that you can go talk to the new DOT commissioner, but now the governor has got an individual that you have to also meet with that handles the money. It's not like the DOT commissioner, he used to handle the whole thing, but that's not the case anymore. So you have to kind of work with both of them at one time.
Wow, wow. Okay, what do you see happening? You're in your second term.
In my second term, it was kind of, I had all planned, as you know, just to make a one term out of it. And I was really set back to the fact that we were able to pull two terms out, which hadn't happened in over 20 years in Pickens County.
Right.
That had kind of moved me pretty good personally to the fact that the citizens wanted me for another term. I hope they feel that way after this one. But you never know what's going to come down the pike. But as for the future of Pickens County, things are still going on. We haven't just completely shut government down. We're still trying to work on the roads as we can get some weather to work on it.
I was going to ask you, what this crisis we had 2 weeks ago, when the roads, the power lines, the trees, so much weather damage, did that cost the county money?
It did, and the way the state operates, you have to have a certain expenditure before they will even come back and give you any assistance. We, of course, have not ever made that transition to the $5 or $6 million that you have to spend in order to get any kind of money back from the state. But the road department, the 911, the ambulance service did a real good job to the fact that on Thursday when that come in, we worked around the clock. We divided up in shift. We worked around the clock till Sunday morning. I finally just sent everybody home Sunday morning because we were battling kind of a losing battle with the lower temperatures. But it worked out well. We were there for the support for the fire personnel and for the EMTs and the ambulance service, and that was our main purpose, just to try to keep those running in case somebody needed help.
Was anybody hurt responding to accidents?
Not in the county personnel that I know of. Now, there was some fender benders. There were some people with head bumps and all, but nothing drastic.
Were there any fires during that weekend?
There was one or two fires. Gilmer County had called down, asked for requests on 2 fires up in Gilmer County from Pickens County. We'd responded, but I think we got called back at the end. Dawson County called in. They had an ambulance that had slid off in a ditch up around Big Canoe, and we had to go up there and help them and respond to it. But other counties up in here, we're real good to help back each other up for situations like that. And I don't know if we actually had any fires per se during that time with the snow and ice that we had.
Let me ask you about something that you know how I stand on this. How do you feel about a 3-man, 5-man, whoever commission? How do you feel about that?
I have made the statement many times that I just seem to stay neutral in that position.
Okay.
Somewhere probably in
I wish I could stay neutral. I just can't.
In the next few months, I might make a statement to it. But right now, I'm staying arm's length. I have stayed at arm's length. I haven't had any dealings with those committees. They had picked their own committees, and I'm just letting it go its own course.
Okay. Well, I have seen it all, and when you mentioned the other counties surrounding us do have multi-man or multi-person commissions.
That's correct.
Commissions, okay. How many in the state of Georgia are left with single?
9.
9, okay.
And Murray County just has went back to a sole commissioner. It's been about 5 years ago.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's all I'm going to say. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Now, let's talk about something that hurt. A lot of homeowners have come to me and said, because of my brother's job, I just laugh about this. I can't do anything about it. What happened to homestead exemption?
Homestead exemption, we had a $5,000 homestead exemption for Pickens County. the governor, there was a law in the state, and evidently the governor decided not to re-sign it to give the individuals, not only in Pickens County, but statewide,
Right.
another homestead exemption that we've had. So it was kind of a double whammy with the
Right.
economy going back and losing that homestead exemption from the state. It's pretty tough. Plus, you know, school boards, you know, had to have some extra money because they've been cut back on funds. It was a tough decision for a lot of
Right.
us to make.
Right. Now, what about the furloughs with teachers? Are we seeing, is that an impact in Pickens County?
It is an impact in Pickens County. They're under the same state plan as rest teachers in the state. So whatever you hear going on with the state normally affects Pickens County to a certain extent. They have done well to keep everything together. What I've been hearing, but we just had to inherit that and proceed on.
What's next for Pickens County? Are we going to be able to grow with the economy in the shape it's in?
We are going to be able to grow. We're planning as usual. The Pickens County contrary to popular belief is not destitute whatsoever.
Right.
We are still moving on. We're not moving on as fast as we'd like to be. There is some things going to be happening in the next few months here in Pickens County. We just ordered a new fire truck here a few weeks ago. We're fixing to move into a new fire station 11 over at the airport. Right now the old station is right there beside Amaclola Electric. We are shutting that station down for various reasons.
Is the ambulance still there too?
The ambulance and fire stations are now, ambulance and fire are now together, and they will be moving on the back side of the airport. And the airport itself is back under construction. And
That's what I was going to ask you. I went down that back road the other day and noticed that some things looked to me like progress was in the works.
It is. Of course, they've been hit by weather like everybody else has, but the two contractors that are on that project now will probably be springtime when that project finally gets done, thank goodness. And Upper Salem Road is now open back up. We're going to pave it. There's all sorts of items. We put nearly 30,000 feet of water line in Pickens County last year, and going out on the west end and on the east end of the county. So things are still going on, and we got a new water tank coming on down in Tate, Georgia. So those items are still happening.
Well, we wanted some growth, but we who've been there over 30 years, we have now said, Lord, maybe we should have put a fence up down there at 515 because we grew too fast, possibly.
It was when I come on in 05, as you know, we put zoning in place 4 months later in April. I was really surprised.
Was that a good thing?
It was a good thing. I was really surprised. We didn't have the individuals that had put this plan together previously did a real good job doing their homework. When we decided to go ahead and initiate it, we give everybody 90 days to look over their property. If they wanted to do a zoning, they can do it, and not have to go through the ordeal of going through the rezoning classifications. And that worked out great. I don't think, when everything was said and done, everything signed, I didn't think we had two issues. And it worked out great. And it didn't slow down progress, but it gave everybody the ability to plan where they wanted to move their growth.
Right.
And build your house. Of course, you don't want to build your house next to chicken houses and those type of items. And it gives people the ability to understand where everything
Well,
goes.
I know that better than anybody because I had how many acres was that? 25-acre tract for sale for about 12 years. Showed that property, and showed that property. And people would be looking at this gorgeous view in the heavily wooded area with this gorgeous creek, and they'd say, what's that smell? And I'd say, well, that's your next door neighbor. Welcome to chicken country. Chickens are a way of life in Pickens County.
That's correct.
And we're not going to do away with the chicken industry because it makes a lot of money for Pickens County.
And we're still a rural county.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
Granted, we're an hour from Atlanta, but we are still considered a rural county.
Well, we learned that we are in rural Pickens County, but we do welcome growth. And if you come, then learn to go, yeah, that's a chicken house. Right now we're going to take a break and we're going to go to the weather. We're having a little technical difficulty that has to be fixed. And that's one thing about live TV. We know when it goes crazy, we have to stop and fix it. So hang on just a minute. We're going to the weather and then we'll be right back with Rob Jones. Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem.
Today.
No graphics today. This is just one of those things in live TV. It is truly live TV. And we have learned you just roll with the flow. You just go, pull you up by the seat of your pants and hit the road running. Here we go. Now, Rob, you get up every morning and hit the road running. You never know what you're going to face.
That's true. That's true.
Have you ever faced some things that you just sat behind your desk, scratched your head, and said, what was I thinking?
No more than every day. It's been interesting. It's been a job that it has really been enjoyable. And it's kind of like running your own business. You know, you're not going to please everybody, but
Right.
but you do the best you can. As long as you can sleep at night, that's all you can ask for.
Can you run again? Or is there?
Yes, no, you can.
Okay, there's not a rule in place that says 2 terms is it.
That's correct.
Okay.
No, you can keep running.
Would you run again?
I,
Oh gosh.
if it
Welcome to live TV.
if it stays sole commissioner, I will
Don't
run
kick my
again.
mom under the table.
Yeah.
If it stays sole commissioner, I will run again.
Okay, good. That's good news because, and I think that's why I have the opinion I have about multi-man commissions. If it works for you, do it. But if it works for our county, and it does seem to be working.
Well, if the majority of the people don't like what I'm doing, send me home.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot easier to get rid of one than it is to get rid of 3 or 5. But
Right.
that's my opinion. I'm
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
that's as
Well,
far as I'll go.
it's going to be interesting. Is it going to be put on a ballot for a vote?
We're hoping it's down at the state capitol. I have requested Chip and Tom to leave the legislation alone, run it through there as it is written, and get it on the ballot for the governor's race, to where everybody have a chance to look at it. I would love to have the majority of people in Pickens County vote on this, and let's squash it one way or the other. But it's not
Let's talk about voting in Pickens County. What is our turnout usually? I was very disappointed last time, 20-something
Yeah.
percent.
yeah, 20-something
That was
percent.
pretty disgusting.
We've got somewhere between 17 and 19,000 voters in a county that's got around 30,000, 31,000 people. Out of that, you'll wind up with, such as last election, which was an off-season cycle, around 20%. But normally, hopefully it'll bounce around 45 to 55, hopefully 60%, depending on what it
You
is.
know, if you don't vote, you can't gripe.
You would,
I wouldn't
you would
miss
think
an
that.
election.
You,
I know. I
you would
always
think
go
that, but
vote.
there's some of them that will.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta go get my sticker.
Okay, now you still have the same staff that worked for other commissioners.
I do.
You just
I do.
stepped into place, and the ladies who worked for you knew their jobs.
That's correct.
And that's one of the neat things about you walking into there. You didn't go in there and clean house and throw a bunch of people home. A lot of people were worried about losing their jobs.
They do, and that's the hardest thing about cycling from a new administration to another. I did not do that. Luckily, we were able to, the cutback side I mentioned earlier, we were able to do that through the fact that a lot of them retired. Some of them had to leave for various reasons. Some of them went to other jobs,
Yeah.
and we just didn't hire back.
Well, now today we have a coroner who's full-time. Is that right? Is that a new position? Didn't we?
No,
use-
we've always had a coroner.
Okay, all right. And is there anything that's been added during your administration?
We used to, a few years ago, had a county marshal, which kind of went in limbo back about 6, 7 years ago. We've now got a new county marshal on board. And we had him part-time last year.
What is his job?
His job, he's got quite a few different jobs. Dump sites, going out and tagging houses or mobile homes that haven't paid their taxes, running down animals and helping with animal control, those type of items. And helping with the tax office a lot, because the tax office, they were always having to pull in somebody from the sheriff's office to go out and document the property, so he was able to go out there and do that.
Okay, what's going on? I know there's no planning and no building going on. How many permits have been issued this year for building new homes? Because you had 7 people in that office who stayed busy.
Yeah, we have cut back in that office quite a bit. This year, I can't give you that number because I don't get them till the end of the month.
Okay.
And so they haven't given me those numbers. We had around a little over 100 last year, and so that was pretty
All
good.
year? Wow.
Now we've had a very big increase on remodeling jobs and people on that, but building new homes was really back pretty far.
Wow.
And when you cut back, did you put those people in other positions? How did you handle that?
Well, one of them retired. We're down to just 2 inspectors now. One of them had retired. One of the ladies in the front office, bless her heart, passed away here a few months ago, and we didn't replace that one. And we've just moved people around to try to work. I had brought an individual that was with the road department back over to that office to help us with right-of-way issues, trying to get some of these roads and the right-of-ways on these roads done, and just move people around.
Okay, you mentioned DOT funding is just out the window, gone out of there. We don't get any money
At this time.
at this time. Is there going to still be the widening and the changing of Highway 53?
That is that's still on the books. They haven't just killed that project altogether. It keeps bouncing around from going to break ground probably in 2013 to 2018, then they bump it out to 2030, and then it goes back and forth. So they really haven't got down. But the engineering and all the underground surveys are still going on, so it hasn't died completely.
And
Do you think we need that?
if the county would stay stable with the population that you've got now, you could probably get by. It's going to be tough, but somewhere down the road, it's going to have to be done. Either that highway is going to have to be widened or diversified into one-way lanes, or there's going to be a bypass put around Jasper.
We don't want to bypass. We don't want people to miss downtown Jasper.
Right.
Have you seen the view from our red light? It is beautiful. And I said, as a realtor, people crack me up. They'll say, I want a home, I want 3 acres, a cabin, a creek, and a view. Okay, that's hard to find right now at a decent price. Well, it was hard to find. It may not be so hard now. But I tell people, if you want a good view, just go up there to the red light in downtown Jasper every day and glance over to your left. It is a beautiful view.
You can go to the red light or you can go to the airport.
Oh, yes.
The airport's
yes.
got a beautiful
Or
view
upstairs
up
at the courthouse.
That's
It is
true.
absolutely incredible. Downtown Jasper offers so much, and we don't want that to be forgotten.
Right.
You know, not just bypassed, but forgotten.
There's 2 or 3 plans out there. The ideal situation is to keep 53 a valid highway coming into Jasper. Now, we changed it here a few years ago to the fact that big tractor trailers now, we've got it signed out that they can go down 515 and go out 108 and go through Tate, Georgia, instead of trying to bring those tractor trailers through town. But
Have you ever driven a tractor and trailer and turned
yeah.
at the red light in Jasper?
Yeah, it's
That's
just
a lot of fun.
Yeah. Especially on Friday.
Or if
Yeah.
you're the little car sitting there thinking, oh God, don't let him run over me. You know,
Yeah,
it
it's pretty
is very tough. Yeah, but we don't want to stop downtown Jasper. Let's talk a little bit about the new courthouse. Is that going to happen?
It is going to happen. It's kind of on a slow move. We're still doing some planning. We've got some other options. The courthouse has got to stay in town. I mean, I'm not. We can't change that because of the way the SPLOST referendum was voted. But we've got a SPLOST out there that was voted for 6 years for $34 million. In all facts, we've been into it about 15 months now. We've collected about $4.6 million. I am not wanting to go ahead and issue bonds till I start seeing a little more money start flowing in. Right now, we're just banking the money, and part of the SPLOST on the phase 1 part was that we're able to pay debt with that money. So we're paying some debt, but we're still doing the planning on the courthouse.
Where is it going to be?
Well, the courthouse is going to be where it's at.
Will that one come down?
No, not necessarily. There's 3 or 4 options. One of them is to remodel it. The whole issue we've got right now with the courthouse, not so much the remodeling issues or how we're going to build the building or whatever we want to do, but parking. Parking is the main problem. And and I think we'll get through it. I think we'll figure out something on that before it's over.
Okay, downtown Jasper has some vacant buildings, but quite a few new businesses. Is the county getting new businesses? When's the last time we got a ribbon cutting event?
Well, the ribbon cutting events have kind of went by the wayside for a few months now. Jerry Neckbatal, who is the economic development of Pickens County and the city of Jasper, has done well to bring in a few. He's got some on the table that we can't talk about that are looking at
Go
Pickens
ahead,
County.
you can tell us, but only 80,000 people will know.
Well, yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
true. No, I'll just let that one lay. But Jerry has done a very good job in his position to get Pickens County's name out there. He's done well to revamp our website, get it out there, and then bringing people in. Such as last night, we had I was at a Boy Scouts banquet at Appalachia or Chattahoochee Tech last night. First time it's ever happened. Dr. Carlton Wilson pulled that off for Cherokee County and Pickens County. Those are a very, very good sized crowd there for that, and we were well pleased to have that. A lot of people there from Cherokee County were surprised because they have never been in Chattahoochee Tech. So it turned out very well.
And you know, for people who don't know, for large events, that is the place to handle and to hold your large events.
That's correct.
I mean,
Yeah,
like it
it's
is
very
the
nice.
best facility anywhere within our area. Okay, what do you see you doing in the next, how many years have you got to go to?
I got 3 more.
3 more years. Okay. What do you see you doing that will make Rob Jones the commissioner that people remember and say, man, he did a good job? What is the one thing you want to be remembered for?
Gosh, well, you had a loaded question for live TV. Now, give me time.
Yes.
I'm just here to do a job.
Is the airport important to you?
The airport is very important to me. I think that'll be a great economic boom for Pickens County.
I do too.
And get that going. I want to see the courthouse either started or hopefully completed before I leave office. I want to see the rec department, community building for the rec department. And that might be on the horizon quicker than you might think. I'm not at liberty to speak at it right at this time, but there could be a community center going up there at Roper Park. And not only gyms, but it's a community center that we can do things. And Pickens County at this time does not have an emergency shelter classified by the federal government, which means you've got to have a kitchen, you've got to have showers, and you got to have backup generators. We do not have that kind of building down in Pickens County, so we're putting some plans together to that effect.
For hurricane tornado use?
For hurricane, tornado use, for in case ice storms and people lose their power, they have a place to go because you got backup generator on site. But we're, for some reason, and for 2 years ago, it just never did dawn on me that we really don't have a place. If you have a lot of people that can't live at home, what do you do with them?
Right.
So it could be an issue.
Okay, let me ask you something. I rode by a couple of days ago the site where the old work camp is. Okay, what better use could be made of that property?
My personal opinion, what needs to be done with that, and of course, we're on live TV and I'll probably get 200 calls, but the courthouse is staying downtown. The property where that is very expensive commercial property, and we got a road camp sitting on it. There's approximately 16 acres of that property right there.
A great site. It is a great site.
It is a great site. When you just look at it, the first thing you think is, well, it's a whole lot cheaper for the county if we could find some other property somewhere, move the road department off it, put that property on the market, auction it off when the economy turns around here another few months.
Right. It has a great view from there too.
It would be an ideal piece of property to put on the open market, to auction it off and put that money in the county coffers and pay debt with, or make it go towards courthouse or a community building. There's things that can be done with that piece of property. Granted, it would be an ideal situation in the future of Pickens County if the future citizens want to put a courthouse there or to put a library there. There's all sorts of things you can do with the property.
I think a lot of counties I visit have complexes with everything together, and every time I ride by and look at that property, I think it's a no-brainer. We have the property, we have the view, we have the access to the interstate, we've got the Quick Trip gas station right there, for goodness sake. We've got Lawson Chevrolet right there. That is, to me, one of the most valuable pieces of property in Pickens County. And I think it is just not being used the way it should.
It's not. And I'll be the first person to agree with that. We've got a road department sitting on it that is just a storage area. That's what it is. And it's too valuable to let it sit there. So
and I didn't realize it was 16 acres. That's a big piece of property.
Yeah, approximately 16 acres in that parcel up on top of the hill.
Well, maybe in your future, as your third term starts, maybe there'll be time for that. I hope so. Is there anything else we haven't touched on you want to talk about?
No, we've got you pretty well covered. You pretty well boxed me in a corner, but
do my job.
But no, we've got and of course animal control has been another issue in Pickens County. We are looking and we are taking old Station 11 that they're moving out of, and that's going to be the new animal control shelter for Pickens County. So that's going to happen.
Good.
That's amazing. That is too little too late. We needed that a long time ago. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Well,
and this is Commissioner
me.
Robert Jones, our sole commissioner from Pickens County. Yay.
And you told his job and you were going to ask
That's
it for
okay.
trivia.
I asked that question
That's
earlier.
right.
Yeah. Duh. You know, I showed pictures of her when she was 2. She did have. She's different. She's different. We're going to take a break now. We do have graphics problems, but we can go to a DVD, and that means we can change guests. We're going to go to the Booth Brothers, who will be in Dalton on February the 6th. I hope you will go and attend amazing concert by the Booth Brothers. Right now, you're going to get a little tiny clip of the Booth Brothers.
To the end of life's journey, you know this, and perhaps we'll never meet anymore till we gather in heaven's bright city, far away on that beautiful shore. If we never meet again this side of heaven, as we struggle through this world and its strife, there's another meeting place somewhere in heaven, by the side of the river of life, where the charming roses bloom forever, and where separations come no more. If we never meet again this side of heaven, I will meet you on that beautiful shore. Thanks to the blood of our Savior, folks. That's a promise. They say that we shall meet by the river, where no storm clouds ever darken the sky. And they say we'll be happy forever and ever in the wonderful sweet by and by. If we never meet again this side of heaven, as we struggle through this world and miss a ride, there's another meeting place somewhere in heaven, by the side of the river of life, where the charming roses bloom forever, and where separations come no more. If we never meet again this side of heaven, I will meet you on that beautiful shore. I will meet you. Oh, I will meet you on that beautiful shore. And that's a promise, folks. Amen. Here's a Mosey list of classic for you. I woke up this morning feeling fine. You gotta clap on this. I woke up with heaven on my mind. You got it. I woke up with joy in my soul. Come on, Phil. 'Cause I knew my Lord had control. Well, I knew I was walking in the light, 'cause I'd been on my knees in the night. That's good. And I prayed till the Lord gave a sign. And now I'm feeling mighty fine. Well, I'm feeling mighty fine. I've got heaven on my mind. Don't you know I wanna go where the milk and honey flow. There's a light that always shines down inside this heart of mine. I've got heaven on my mind, and now I'm feeling mighty fine. You're doing great, guys. Keep it up. I've been walking with Jesus all the time. We're walking and talking as we climb. We're traveling the road to the sky, where I know I live when I die. He's been telling me all about that land, and he tells me that everything is grand. And he says that a home will be mine. And now I'm feeling mighty fine. Well, I'm feeling mighty fine. I've got heaven on my mind. Don't you know I wanna go where the milk and honey flow. There's a light that always shines down inside.
Yay! We are fixing technical difficulties. Yay, yay, yay. Now, today is the day we always do birthdays and anniversaries, and I have one very special anniversary. Kimsey and Judy Norton, 43 years on the 22nd. Happy anniversary. And what you
Yes,
got?
I have Mildred McDaniel. Her daughter, Lisa Vest, wants to wish her a happy birthday, and Lisa works at IGA.
Lisa, you can go by and see her and say, Ed, could you come over here and sing me a song? What is that song he sings? Let's see. We'll have to think
Oh,
about that.
no, January 23rd. Brooke Bell is going to be 7 years old, January 23rd.
Can't believe she's 7.
And they sent a picture. If our graphics works, we'll get to show it. If not, we'll have to show it a different time. And Jason Lanning is going to be 2 years old on January 23rd. So happy birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday. And you'll go in the birthday drawing, and we'll find out shortly who the cake is going to be by. Now, today we're going to be talking a little bit about Copper Hill, Tennessee. We are joined by Richard Jabaley, who happens to be If you look at the cover of this book, that says Richard Jabaley on the front of a store. Richard, we talked to you in the past about the day the city flooded and what it was like. In this book, you start at what year and go to what year?
I started about 42, 41, 42 when I started school in the first grade in 1942.
And Copper Hill used to be a big to-do, wasn't it? A lot of people there, a lot of businesses there.
Cherie, it's indescribable. You wouldn't believe it.
But you do describe it in the book, and you said the sales have been great because people who moved away from here are purchasing the book because they remember those days.
Well, Cherie, not only that, what was surprising to me, the new people that had moved into the area want to know, they find it interesting how Copper Hill was back then. As a matter of fact, some of them will think I lost my mind when they see what I'd written in here. Because at that time, Copper Hill was, I'm sure, busier than Blue Ridge or J or Murphy put together.
Was your family a big part of that because of businesses?
Well, my family was just one more business there. That was so huge. No, the copper company was the reason for it all. If there was no copper company, there might not have been a Copper Hill, maybe, but not near what it was. A company that works 3,000 men. There was not a place, Fannin County didn't work that many people in the whole county. It was the single largest union in the state of Tennessee. What they did, unions like the pipe fitters, the lead burners, the painters, the carpenters, they all went together and formed one union. And it was indescribable. I mean, it was just beyond belief. When I look at all of these things, I say, gee whiz, was it really that way?
Yeah,
It was.
Now, you left there and went to college, went to the University of Georgia.
Yes.
Tell me what it was like to leave that little town that where you grew up.
Well, you know, actually, I went to St. Bernard's High School in Cullman, Alabama for 1 year, my senior year in high school. And I went 1 year as a freshman in college to St. Bernard's. Then I switched over to the University of Georgia. And I remember when I was in Copper Hill, I said, oh, gracious, I can't wait to leave, you know, and go to college. But I couldn't wait to get back to Copper Hill after when I was ready to come back. It was a bittersweet thing, you know, but that's the way it was.
Well, today I am fascinated by the warmth in the atmosphere there, the people. Everybody's so cool. I just love it. And I said, I like to go, I walk in the grocery store and quite often get stuck in there 45 minutes or an hour, people just talking. It's just the kind of community where people just want to talk to you.
It is, it is.
Has it always been like that?
Yes, yes. Only there were more people there, many more people there at that time. And when I was growing up, after high school, if you didn't get a job, couldn't get a job at the company, you had to leave. There was nothing else there. But my gracious, then what else could you expect in a small place like that?
Now let's talk about, in the book, do you talk about before there was greenery and things there in Copper Hill? Do you remember all that?
I do, Cherie, and I didn't go into it that much, but yeah, when I started my book in 41 or 42, the time that I cover, there was barren hills and what we call gullies, red clay. There was not. You could go from Copper Hill almost to halfway to Murphy on 64, or halfway down 64 towards Cleveland, and not see a blade of grass or anything.
Wow.
But then they started a reforestation program, and they planted kudzu vines, they planted out Bermuda grass, they planted pine trees by the hundreds of thousands each year, and everything turned green. Now, everything that they did in Copper Hill in the name of progress hurt us, because if it was the landscape was like it was back then, people would drive by there to see how it was. You know, now we're just like any other place.
Because truly, from the air, from a satellite, couldn't you determine that you were over Copper Hill, Tennessee?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That it looked like it was totally copper.
Is it from the copper that there was no growth?
Well, the mining. At one time they did what they call strip mining, and the fumes in the air, killed all the vegetation.
Wow.
Do you
That had to
remember
be-
ladies having their clothes on the clothesline and them turning dark? I've heard ladies talk about they knew what days to do laundry and what days not to.
I think some of these stories you hear are a little
Okay.
exaggerated. I
Okay.
don't recall that. But now, it was something that happened when I was at the University of Georgia. I took 3 years of German. The last year I was in German, the head of the department, Dr. Cherie, taught the class. And we was interpreting a chapter, you know, from German to English. And there was something about this meteor that landed in the desert in Arizona and caused a crater, you know, in the earth. And I was sitting there, you know, listening to him. And he said, it must be something reminiscent of Copper Hill, Tennessee. And I almost fell out of my chair, you know. I said, after the class, I said, Dr. Terry, how did you know about Copper Hill, Tennessee? He said, well, my cousin Pat Terry was the mayor there and also worked at the company in the accounting department.
Wow.
And Pat Terry lived right across the street from me.
Small world.
So it was. But he remembered how barren it was. And there was a reporter from Birmingham, Alabama, who was traveling from Chattanooga up to the Smokies. And when he got through that part of our territory, he was amazed by it. Only he went back to Birmingham and wrote about it in an article about Copper Hill and the land. And there's all kinds of stories. And a photographer, the fella called me from New York. And he was writing an article about Ducktown and Copper Hill. And he called me and he said, Mr. Jabaley, I would like for you, I understand you're a photographer, and I'd like for you to do a picture for me. I said, okay, what is it? And he said, now I want you to go behind the courthouse in Ducktown. And there's a gully and a ravine and red clay. Well, see, there wasn't many places like that, but somebody told him this was where it was at.
Right.
And he wanted me to make a picture of it. And he was depicting, this is the way it was then, but it wasn't. Everything was green. He just found out where there was an isolated case, and he was writing about that, you see, like it was
Still that way.
still that way.
I've seen the photography when it was all barren, and
Yeah.
it was very different looking.
It was.
It was very different, but it was a way of life too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And people didn't expect it to be any different.
They didn't.
Was it dirtier though, you know, as far as dust in the air and in your homes and?
We didn't notice it. Well, you know, we didn't notice it. And I grew up there, and people say, well, they get lung cancer and all of this. I'm 73 years old, and I don't think I've got lung cancer. But anyhow, you know, they do this. But now, you know, it's now what they did do in later years, they had some stacks that went about 100, 150 feet in the air, and these fumes were filtered through these stacks and went into the atmosphere and not just low to the ground. But I went to Cleveland, Tennessee, I wanted seamless guttering, aluminum seamless guttering put on my house. And I didn't want seams, I wanted one piece. You know, they roll it out and put it up. And this fellow in Cleveland says, okay, yeah, we can do that. And I told him the size of the house and everything. He says, where is it at? And I said, Copper Hill, Tennessee. He said, I don't go down there. I said, really? He says, I put some guttering on Jimmy Burgess' house 2 years ago. And the fumes from the acid, the company, made it look like a sieve. I mean, water just filtered through.
no.
But now it did do damage. It caused damage.
Wow.
But now, how much damage? But like I said, I grew up there. And
it was a way of life. It was
yeah.
a way of life. Yeah.
Well, it was a wonderful life because if it wasn't for the company,
Oh, yeah.
none of those men would have jobs. We wouldn't have been there. My
Right.
father came there in the early 30s because he was in business with his father in Marietta. And they barely could keep the door open. They were getting ready for the Depression. And they couldn't hardly keep the doors open. Well, Uncle John was visiting his brother down there, my grandfather. And he knew that Dad and his father were having trouble keeping. He said, honey, why don't you come up to Copper Hill? I'm doing fine. So Dad went up to Copper Hill, and after a couple of weeks, he decided that's where he was going to stay. So when the whole country had a Depression, the men worked around the clock, although it was for a minimum wage. still they were working.
It
when
was a
people,
job,
When people
yeah.
wanted a nickel for a bowl of soup,
Yeah.
the soup lines, you see. So it was a good place, you know.
Did the copper run out? Is that why everything closed?
No, honey. The
What
company, there's economic reasons.
Yeah.
Economic. There's a Ferris Maloof, a good friend of mine, at Cherie's.
Yes, love Ferris Maloof. Love him. Love him.
When he came home from college, he was trying to determine a career change, which way to go. He could have taught school. He could have went into business, which he did, his father's business. But he asked Hank Esserbrook, who was over all of the money at the company. Hank went to our church. And Ferris asked Hank, he said, Hank, will the ore ever run out of the ground around here as they see it? And Hank says, Ferris, in 100 years, they'll never run out. There's more ore than they can ever man in 100 years. But economic reasons.
Yeah.
When they could buy the ore from one of the Latin American countries, have it shipped over by barge to the docks
Right.
in Mobile.
So many American
and
jobs were
hauled-
lost because of that.
And our country, our government was subsidizing those mines. It was costing us jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but there was
It was a very sad time.
and it wasn't just copper. That company was very diversified. They bring this ore out of the ground, they break it down, and they would use the copper, the sulfur, all the elements. They made soap, they made fertilizer, copper pellets, iron, zinc, many different products.
Wow.
It wasn't
We
just-
want to recommend that people go up to the museum because reading the book will give you a little bit of the people and the history. Walking in the museum will, and the eeriest part to me was when you see what a miner walked into every day.
Yeah.
That is, you know.
I need to go there.
Yeah, it is an amazing journey and it's open 5 or 6 days a week.
Yeah.
It is dirt cheap to visit, but it is a part of our history that we need to let people see because they really don't understand. These men, were they 3 miles down underground?
They went really deep.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go down in the mines, you know, and I had different friends tell me, you know, well, we'd go down. I've been to different parts of the plant, but I never had been down in a mine. And so when they were getting ready to cap the mines off, when they were closing down, they capped them off. Well, they hired about 6 photographers to go down in those mines and shoot pictures that they have in the museum. Now, I went
It's
down.
amazing.
They gave me film when we went down in those shafts. And I shot film, many rows, and when we came up, they took the film. I never did see any of the pictures.
Oh, wow.
But now, it was so massive. You go down, they call it so many levels, maybe a quarter of a mile, and you'll find a room about 5 times the size of this one, off to the side, where they're working on those big Mack trucks.
Isn't that amazing?
It was mind-boggling. It's
Yeah.
massive
How did they get the truck that far underground?
in parts.
Yeah.
They put it together.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
in parts.
amazing. Well, everybody needs to go up to the museum and visit. It is right on the top of the hill. Go to the ETC office at Ducktown, hang a right. It's right there on top of the hill.
That's
It is
where
an
it's at.
amazing. Now, Richard, they can't get your book there, but they can get it from you. Is that
They
right?
can call me. I'm in the phone book, and I'll be glad to meet them and take them to them
Okay.
and whatever. But let me mention one thing. I should have started with this. Since we talked last time, I got a wonderful grandson,
Good for you. Good for you.
Gabriel Elias Parton.
Okay.
Now, Patricia and Jeff Parton are his parents,
Right.
and Jeff and his family plays here.
Right. Right.
They make music here.
And for people who think you're seeing things, yes, Richard Jabaley has been playing with the Partons on ETC before. I was sitting there a couple of Sundays ago and I looked and I said, well, there's Richard. And yes, you are. Well, you have an amazing history. You have an amazing history, and thank you very much for sharing it with people because I found out about this town 39 years ago. And I remember being amazed that you could be in Tennessee and Georgia at the same time then, and I'm still amazed by this little tiny city that the people, the whole story that I think needs to be told is the people. The people there are absolutely amazing.
Now, our story that's on the cover the line ran catacorner through the Tennessee-Georgia line, ran
Right.
catacorner through the building. So part of it's in Georgia and part of it's in Tennessee.
That is so
And
cool.
the book is $10, and they can
Yes.
purchase it through Richard Jabaley. You can get a hold of him. Give us your email address.
It's jabaleyphoto@etcmail.com.
Okay, jabaleyphoto@etcmail.com. Get in touch with Richard, and you can pick up a copy of this for $10. It will be a great Valentine's Day is coming up. Don't y'all forget that. And Mother's Day is coming up, so a great gift.
Yes.
And if you know somebody who is maybe interested in visiting the area, it would be a good way to introduce them to where they're coming. So.
What, does it end present day? You go to 4142 to present day, or till the mine's closed?
Probably maybe a couple of years ago. Maybe a couple of years ago. And I wrote on different sections of like Ducktown, Epworth, Isabella, then certain streets where a lot of people live. You know, and mentioned, my only regret is that I mentioned a lot of families, but I couldn't mention everybody that I know. I wouldn't ever finish
Listen, go back and write another book.
Yeah.
Go back and write
Why don't you?
another book.
Well, Kathy and I have been married 49 years. I'd like to make 50, and if I started another one, she wouldn't divorce
Kathy
me.
cut him some slack. Well, right now we're going to take a break. We have the graphics working now. We're going to go to birthdays and to obits. Sit back, and when we come back, you will get to meet, you've already met him several times, Tyler Speer, our favorite race car driver.
Yes.
He has the attitude, he has the positive attitude, he has the knowledge, he has the know-how. Now we need a few more sponsors to come on board,
Yes.
because I think he now has an ARCA license. He is moving up in this world. We'll be back in just a minute.
Stranger to the rain, so go rest high on that mountain. Son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven a shouting, love for the Father and the Son. Oh, how we cried the day you left us. We've gathered round your grave to grieve. I wish I could see the angels' faces when they hear your sweet voice sing. So go rest high on that mountain. Son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven a shouting, love for the Father and the Son. So go to heaven a shouting, love for the Father and the Son. I know your life on earth was troubled, and only you could know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You're no stranger to the rain. So go rest high on that mountain. Son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven a shout.
We're back. Okay, we're back. This is our favorite race car driver, and we were talking image. I can remember Freddie found you in the newspaper, in a Woodstock newspaper. That newspaper, I think, comes to their house, and when he looked at your story, he said, this sounds like a good kid. He called you, set up the meeting. A year and a half later, we're still hanging out. I have a thing about image, and I told y'all very discreetly and very quietly that I'm a little bit put out with some drivers who have this pompous attitude. I
Yes.
don't like it. I don't
Right.
care how you are. I don't
Right.
care how good you are. I don't like these drivers who don't do autographs anymore.
Yes.
Hey guys, you wouldn't be there if dummies like me didn't shave their legs every night and buy that stuff you advertise. You know, you have to take care of your fans.
You do.
And I think that's
Yes,
the
look,
thing.
the back of my shirt
Yeah,
says
yeah.
#1 fan.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing I liked most about you the first meeting was you have the whole package and you have this image that's just you. You're just a good guy. When you get to the winner's circle in NASCAR, if you turn out to be a jerk, I will
won't.
whip you.
I won't.
And you better take us with you.
That's right.
You'll be there. Believe me.
That's right. But you this year have made a lot of progress. You won.
Finally.
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 Yay,
Finally.
yay, yay.
It was the Kershaw race. It was actually, we started thinking about it. It was the last race of the decade that we won, and in the Allison
right.
Legacy deal. And it was funny because I started 4th, and I told my mom, I came on the radio and I said, let's start this parade. And she says, what do you mean a parade? I was like, well, they're all going to follow. And I mean, I was kind of kidding about it, but I didn't think it would work out this well on the first start of the race. On the first lap, I took the lead on the first lap and led all of them. And
That's
ended up
awesome.
winning it.
That's awesome.
Were you just like, oh my God, oh my God?
The first,
as it
first few
progressed
laps,
on and
the
then,
first few laps, I was like, all right, let's calm down, because after I took the lead, because the first and second
You're
place.
like, I've never had the lead. What am I going to do with it?
Well, last time I had the lead, I had a car take me out, and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just taking it. So I passed first and second, and then I was like, all right, just get in a rhythm. And then once I got in the rhythm, it was just going down to business from there on out.
Now, you
Wow.
were with me at Gresham Motorsports the opening day.
Yes, ma'am.
And we filmed some stuff. Well, I stayed about an hour's worth of filming, then we had to leave. You finished filming, and you told me there were some good wrecks that day.
There
Good
were.
wrecks make racing.
They do. Rubbing is racing.
Yeah, yeah.
I was sitting there, and whenever you told me to film it, my mom, she wanted to sit down, so I went up and started filming it. I was like, all right, I'll try to take the camera off and film the leaders going around. And I was filming the leaders, and as they were coming around, the car started wrecking, going into turn 1, and he was coming straight for me, and I really didn't notice it until he was about right there. So I had to take a few steps back, but it was neat.
Well,
It was a cool track.
Yesterday, they announced some new rules in racing. We are going back to racing as it needs to be. There will be some rubbing in racing. There'll be some wrecking in racing. People got a little put back with racing was getting a little boring.
It is.
It was getting a little boring. And when we spend the kind of money we spend, and I will say after years of being a season ticket holder at Atlanta, I gave it up this year. It was very expensive.
Yes.
I've decided to go to tracks like Gresham or like the Hickory track we went to with you. I would rather go where it's still up close and personal.
Yes.
You know, once I went to Atlanta and realized you can pay for a pit pass, but you're not going to get to be with anybody or see anybody. I don't care how much money you spend. It just didn't happen. But when you walk into, I have pictures of me and Donnie Allison, me and Bobby Allison, because you took us to a track where the dudes of racing really are.
Yes.
And I got to be with them. And that kind of brought me back to what racing is all about. It's about up close and personal.
Yeah, it's about family and spending time with friends and the fans. We definitely wouldn't be doing any of this if they didn't come to support and pull us on.
Right. And I told you, I love you to death, but I cannot wear yellow. I look like Big Bird in yellow. I'm not wearing yellow. So you've got to get me a black shirt with yellow writing or
Okay.
whatever you
Okay.
want to do. I refuse
I
to
will
wear
sport your yellow, Tyler.
Somebody has to.
Who chose your color combination?
Actually, I picked. They said, why don't we go cobalt blue or something? I was like, well, that's going to blend in. So we went. I asked Ron Wilson with our Wilson Contractors. They do a bunch of smaller work, renovations, and I told them, I said, no, we need something that sticks out so it catches the eye. And
It does.
That yellow
It
catches
does.
the eye. Yes, it does. And that's why I'm not wearing it, because it'd be like, but Big Bird. But number 60, you told us before. Why is that your number?
Well, whenever I started, I was actually going to think about going with my dad's number, and then we took a four-wheeling run up in Pennsylvania, and it was we were riding dirt bikes and whatnot around, and there's little coves that you can go off to and do jumps, and it was really my first time doing a big jump, and my arm got throttle locked whenever I was taking a jump, and it was the first big air that I got, and I went 12 feet in the air, and my dad walked it off, and it was about 60 feet across. And I landed it, and then when I landed, I went up over the handlebars, and then I hit a rock, and it flipped me. But
Oh, no.
but ever since then, I like the number 60, so pick that number.
So do you watch Supercross?
A little bit, a little bit, not that much. but-
I'm getting so upset with Chad Reed. He did awful last weekend, and I love Supercross.
Nick used to love that. Nick loved
Yeah.
that. Let's talk a little bit about, you are an excellent driver on road courses. You're an excellent driver on oval tracks, but you had an accident on ice.
Yeah, ice.
Regular
Once,
streets.
yeah, once you start
can't
sliding, there's-
drive on ice.
You can't. I wasn't even going that fast. I was going maybe 5 miles an hour. It was before the last race at Lanier. We got a late model and we did the Shriners Bowl. And that was our first late model race. We finished 10th, which was pretty good. We were running 8th, and we were only 3 spots behind David Reagan for the first time. So I thought that was
that's
pretty
How
awesome.
awesome.
but once I went down to my grandparents' house, and out on the way there, I was like, the roads don't look too good. And that was Friday night, and that was whenever it got real cold. And I was going down to my grandparents' house, and I was like, this doesn't look good. So then I turned down another street to go to my aunt's house instead to go all the way down to my grandparents' house. And it was black ice all the way down that hill. And I was going probably about 5 miles an hour. And then once you started sliding,
There's no stopping.
I couldn't do anything.
No.
Did
No.
it total your car?
The airbags came out, and we don't have collision or anything, so I've got to fix it.
Oh,
So,
that'll be fun.
Yeah, always.
Now, that's the other thing we talked about with you. You can do it all. You can build it from the ground up. You can repair it. You can come off the track and say, hey, guys, this is what's wrong with my car, because you know it inside and out. How important is that in driving today?
It's really important. Unlike Joey Logano, and we don't have as much money as to throw into it, so we really need sponsors to back it up. And knowing the cars and working on it, I mean, you pretty much have to know it. And a bunch of the other drivers that I know, they don't really work on it. They don't really do much of anything to it.
Doesn't it make you a better driver, though? I always hear
does.
that. Like Jeff Gordon, they always say he can call his car
Yes.
when it's out there and say what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
You have
so
to know
many times.
what's working, what's doing what. Yeah, you have to know it inside and out.
Yeah.
Okay, family support is 99.9% of why you're racing.
Oh, it is. I wouldn't be doing it if they
Yeah.
they weren't.
You know what
there
I
at
love?
all.
Your brother comes up from college to be with you on special race days.
He does.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour drive, and then
Yeah.
we drive another 4 to 6 hours on top of that. So he gets a lot of riding in. But yeah, I couldn't do it without his help either.
Now, when you have to go race, do you usually have to leave on Thursday or Friday for the weekend, or?
It depends. It depends when the car's ready. We've had the Rockingham race. We left 2 o'clock in the morning, and that was the time we had to leave by. And we got up there at, I think it was 8 o'clock, right before the drivers' meeting on
Wow.
Friday. And
Wow.
That's pushing it to the max, little man.
It is.
Were you
It
able
is.
to sleep on the drive up so
I
that you were
sleep.
rested,
my
or?
my dad drives. That's the favorite part I like. I get to sleep. So I mean,
Yeah.
I can work till whenever, as long as the drive up there I get to sleep.
Right.
I'll be ready to go. But the Frank Kimball race that we had New Year's went pretty well actually. We finished. We were running 10th actually, and we had a motor was missing on top end, and we had to thank Gary Grimes for the motor. I mean, we wouldn't be up front without his help.
Yeah.
But we were running up front, and we were doing pretty good. And the plan was just to stay on the lead lap for the first part of the race, and then we were going to turn it on at the very end. And we wouldn't have gone a lap down if we wouldn't have had that miss. And it was just a little fuel problem we had with it. But we were running 10th with 13 to go, and we had some car drove up underneath the apron going into 1 at Rockingham. And you can't go from 0 degrees to 26 degrees of banking and hope it
Right.
sticks.
Right.
And took us out, and we still finished 23rd, which wasn't too bad. But it was going to be a good race if we could have finished it.
Does
So how-
Tyler Spear have a problem when you get taken out of a race and you're leading? Do you deal with that emotionally? Have you ever thrown your helmet?
I've never thrown my helmet. We don't have enough money to throw a helmet, first of all. But I mean, you can't. At that point, all you can do is work on what you have there. I mean, you can't do
What's
anything
left.
about it once it happens. I mean, you can get mad, which I've got mad plenty of times. It happens.
Yeah.
But you can just rebuild it. And the good part about the last wreck was his car was really totaled, and since we had the chrome bumpers on the Chevelle, it wasn't too bad.
Do drivers apologize when they cause a wreck and they know it's their fault? Have you ever had somebody come up and say, look, buddy, I blew it. I totally blew it, and I'm sorry. And you're going, okay, show me the money.
A few drivers are good enough to come and be grown up about it and talk to you and say I'm sorry. But a bunch of the drivers will blame it on you. And if I do something wrong, if I rub somebody, I'll come up to them and apologize and I'll talk to them. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be 3 years old about it and
Right.
get mad at them, and you know what I mean. So
Well,
I mean-
now, when are you going to race at Gresham?
Well, we got a late model, like I said, and we're planning on racing as many races, I guess. They have. We're going to do some pass races, the pass series. We're actually going to do a few races at Dixie. So everybody that's local, you should come watch. Cherokee Roofing will be our sponsor for that, and we're hoping to get a 2010 a new sponsor, Killigan's Storage. It's a new sponsor. I'm sorry. But hopefully they'll come on board, and we're trying to find somebody. Kyle Busch, I think, might be at the race at Lanier. I've heard talk about.
I've heard that he is. Yes.
And we're trying to get, if we could get a sponsor on board for that race. We've got everything ready to go.
What would it cost for a sponsor to back you on that race?
The main part that we need right now is just the tires, and I think it's $600 for the weekend for the tires. And if we can get a sponsor for that, we'll be there. And I mean, that was the first race the weekend before last with David Reagan. We were only 3 spots behind him in the second race. So.
See, if I was driving there and there was a NASCAR driver in front of me, I'd be so excited I couldn't do it. I'd be like...
That gave me more of a drive to try to beat. I wanted to pass him so bad. Like, it was just, the car got so tight, and then there was a lap car with last few laps, and I went to pass him on the outside, and he pushed up, and then I lost 2 spots. And I was actually running 8th for most of the race.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about an opportunity you had in a couple of months ago. You got to go to Florida.
Yes, I did.
And tell me about that.
It was, we went to Daytona International Speedway, and that was neat.
That is the most amazing place.
It is. As driving it is, it's a different story. It's a lot different than a short track. The best part is you don't have to lift. I mean, that part of it, you don't have to worry about heating up the right rear or the right front anymore, one than the other. So you can just pretty much mat it, and whenever you go around the track, it's pretty much, the bumps are a lot worse than what you see on TV. A lot worse. Once you're in the corners, you want to correct because the car is bouncing so much, and if you correct it, then it tries to upset the car even more.
Oh, wow.
And the bumps are really bad, but it was pretty neat. It was really neat.
So how fast were you going there?
It was probably about 170, 180.
Dang.
It was quick. And you really don't feel like you're going that fast, really, when you're out
Do
there
you not
on the
feel
track.
a lot of G's at that speed?
You do. You're sitting in your seat. I mean, you're all the way down in your seat. It pulls you down.
Yeah.
But it was neat. It really was.
We've talked in the past about what it does to your body to have that gravitational force on you that many hours. Do you feel, are you tired, are you weak after a long race?
Depending on how hot the motor gets and depending on the situation, most of the time I really don't feel that bad. If I drove the Chevelle without power steering for the first 2 races.
Gosh.
Well, I wanted that little extra bit of horsepower I could get, so I manned up a little bit and worked out and drove it with just manual steering on it, and it was pretty good. But I mean, it's whenever you get out of the car, I usually lose 5 to 10 pounds just from loss of water weight, and but you put that pack on pretty quick. But I do have to work out a little bit just to keep in shape.
Wow.
Okay, comparing Jeff Gordon to Michael Waldrop. One is 5'7", one is 6'5". Who has the advantage in driving?
Well,
How
the
tall are you?
shorter person would have. I'm right at 6 foot. The shorter person, I would think, and we saw Danica on top of that when we were down in Daytona, and she is itty bitty. I didn't think I thought she looked bigger than that on the commercials and TV. But I would think that the smaller driver would have a little bit more of an advantage just for roll center, when the car rolls over, they're sitting lower to the ground.
I've seen Michael Waldrop crawling his car, and I'm thinking, how's he going to be in there and have the capability of moving like he needs to move? He's a big guy. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it after you get in there a few times. I mean, you get used to it pretty quick.
Claustrophobic?
No, I'm not at all. I don't know how somebody driving would be able to drive a race car and be a claustrophobic.
Right. Yeah.
Talk about the importance of the safety issues today in NASCAR.
Well, the cars that they have now are safe. They are really safe. I have not seen anybody get hurt the last few years from in NASCAR. The new COT they have so many safety aspects to them, and a lot of the racing stuff safety-wise has gotten to be so much more advanced and improved. And I mean, you really don't see much, but the safety aspect's still there. You still need to be conscious of of wrecks and other cars around you. But the Hans was a huge deal. I mean, that was the head restraint. That
And
saved
is
a
it
lot of
true? I
lives.
mean, it's been talked about for years that Dale Earnhardt did not have on his Hans. He had
He did.
unhooked it.
Yeah, I
Would
don't know
that
if
have saved his life?
It would have. It would have. He wouldn't have. I don't know. I'm not sure what he
Then
was.
I'm really put out with him because when he left racing, in my opinion, racing will never be the same.
Yeah.
Never be the same.
Well, the aggression part of it, that's part of the reason I think so many people like Kyle Busch is he's aggressive.
Right. Well,
Whenever
they
it needs
called
to
Dale
be.
Earnhardt the Intimidator for a reason.
Yeah.
Racing needed an Intimidator. And as bad as I hate to say it, I'm going to say
Kyle is a
Busch
good
is
driver.
a great driver.
He
He
is.
is a great driver.
Yes.
But he, the attitude, and I think Dale Earnhardt got by with the attitude, and I don't know how he did it, but
Yeah.
Andrew, get those birthdays. I don't know how he did it, but he got by with that attitude, and
did.
he earned our respect. He deserved our respect. I don't think anybody else has come up who has done what he did. Now, Richard Petty, there you go, same thing. He had our respect, but he was a nice guy.
Yes, he was.
Do you ever remember any issues of Richard Petty just being a total jerk?
Not that I know of.
Never.
Not that I know
Never.
of.
But he won 7 championships. Now,
So-
you've got some more birthdays we need to
I
get in
do.
real quick.
We've got Jan McClendon on January 23rd. Happy birthday. Christopher Stover on January 24th, 4 years old.
Yay.
Bart Banks will be 24 from Mom and Dad on January 22nd.
We need to put these in the bucket because we're going to let Tyler draw, but can I give these shirts away?
You can.
Okay, we're going to give away Tyler Spears shirts, and this one is a medium, so there you go. Be good for a young child sitting at home. If you can tell me a local track in Woodstock, Georgia, where Tyler's going to be racing, call us at 866-939-2329. I will also tell you I have never been to that track.
It is fun.
But I will be going when
Yes.
Tyler Spear races. Okay, first shirt we will give away. What is the track Tyler Spear will be racing? Next one is, let's see. What is the track over near Jefferson that Tyler's going to be racing at this year? You ought to remember it, and we've shown footage of it. We've had a visitor here quite often, Dan Elliott, who is very involved in that. So call us at 866. Dixie Speedway is the first answer. That's right. Now, what's this about, young man?
That was another newspaper article on the sports. We were on the front page of which one did she get? We were on the front page of the sports. There it is.
There you go. Let's look
Wow,
at this.
Tyler.
Wow.
For the Rockingham race, we got on the front page. So that was
Can we get a close-up of this?
neat.
There
And
you
guess
go.
who's on the back page?
Who is?
Tiger.
Yeah.
Tyler is on the front and Tiger is on the back.
That is funny. Tyler is smarter than Tiger because
Yes.
Tiger blew it.
That is such a good picture of you.
There
Wow.
you go. That is awesome.
You knew it was going to be there, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
We
That
talked
is
to the,
awesome. That
My
is
mom
so
did the
cool.
good PR work and
Yeah.
talked to the journalists.
And we have to
you
say
know,
mom and dad are 99.9% of why you're racing. A
They are.
family gives up a lot.
They do.
A lot.
And actually the race, if we can get it together
Gresham.
for
Yep.
if we can get the race together for the end of
We're
this
going to
month,
show
it'll
some
be there.
photos now. Now, this is the 3rd annual Ice Cold Shriners Bowl. This is at, where's that one?
Lanier.
Lanier.
Lanier, okay. And that one, you finished 10th.
Yes, I
There
did.
you go. And this one, here's another one there. That's the same thing at Lanier. And for y'all who don't know, Lanier's over in Gainesville, just off of I-85. It's a wonderful trip. I love going to that track.
That was with the Shriner Clowns?
I really
I
like
was-
going
I
to
was that
Gresham Motor Speedway because at Gresham we got the best parking place in the property. This is Daytona International Speedway. He drove one of Andy Hillenberg's ARCA cars to get his ARCA license. That is a big deal, guys. He went 180 miles an hour around the speedway and got his ARCA license. That is a big, big deal. There you go.
That is cool.
And here, I love this one. Love your dad, and that is so cool that y'all are together. This is at Kershaw, South Carolina. Started in 4th, led all 35 laps. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. There you go. There you go. But
That
you
is
got on
neat.
that Big Bird outfit. Now, we got to talk about that Big Bird outfit, Sunshine. There you go. Now, who are the guys with you?
And that is the Allison brothers. That is Ronald and Donald.
Okay.
They are twins.
Okay. And who's their dad? Donnie?
Donnie.
Donnie, yeah. Good, good guys.
Yes, they are.
Okay, this is the Rockingham race on New Year's Day. You finished 23rd, and that was the day that things did not go your way. You had some issues with the engine.
Just a little bit, yep.
welcome to racing. That is part of racing.
It is.
Yeah.
Well,
We
it was-
overcame it.
Yeah, it was great to have you here today.
Thank
We love following what you do because your attitude's got a lot to do with it. It has a lot to do with it. And I hope that people will look at you and say you can have the whole package and you can be the whole. You are big to do. You know, you've won a race now. You're moving on up, but you still have that great attitude. Gillette, Coca-Cola. I can think of names.
Somebody
that
that
need
wants
to have
somebody that's
you.
really a good guy.
Yeah. It really makes a difference. And like the young guns, they chose. Who's on that? Casey Kane. Who are the young guns now?
Now, Joey Logano is a new young guy.
Exactly.
He is.
And does Joey Logano? I really liked his racing technique until I saw a little bit of his attitude. I changed the way I feel about him.
I haven't met him. We did race some races, not against him, but he was at the track with us a few times. I never got the chance to talk to him. But he's really not that, I don't think he's that bad of a driver. He's pretty good, so. We'll see how he does the next few years and see how he.
A lot of money's been put on this kid.
A
A lot of money. Home Depot is banking a whole lot of money to keep him on the track, and I hope he keeps that attitude clean and stays something that the promoters want to deal with. We've seen in the past. You know, what is the Nike logo?
Just do it.
Yeah, right. Well, Nike. You know, you're losing a whole lot of money when you goof up, and that's the whole attitude. You know what it takes to do it right.
And don't forget us when you get there.
He won't.
I will not.
He won't. And you brought us some goodies in the goodie bag for Ange and I. Yeah.
GDE Renovations. They do commercial renovations. They are one of our big sponsors, and they brought some goodies for Valentine's
Commercial
Day.
renovation.
Yay, good.
They do
Candies.
apartments.
Oh, I see a Three Musketeers. Cool. Thank you very much.
Chocolate.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
And we have
Yay.
to thank all of our sponsors. In 2009, Pro Boat, that's my parents' company. Proto
Right.
Tools, GDE Renovations, ECM Modular Walls, Keller & Williams, VP Racing Fuels, Interstate Batteries, R. Wilson Contractor. Thank you for the shirts,
Yay.
the bright yellow shirts.
And we're going to let Tyler draw the birthday drawing today. And once again, I'm not sure where the cake's coming from, but we'll find out and let you know. Okay, there you go.
Here we go.
We don't like that responsibility,
No.
even though
No.
we shuffle.
Yes.
It is Luke Davenport.
There you go, Luke Davenport, and happy 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
There you go, happy birthday. And we'll find out where the cake comes from. We would not be here without sponsors. You wouldn't be racing without sponsors. At Daytona this year in February, when they start the Daytona race, will there be drivers with no sponsors?
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be. If we can get big sponsor on board, we're hoping we can get something together for the ARCA Rockingham race that should be televised, so everybody can watch.
Say Tyler Speer, yay! Pray for Tyler Speer right now. You know what happens on Friday? Time flies when you're
just
having fun.
flies.
Today was a busy day. It was a good day. I love Richard Jabaley, love Rob Jones, love Tyler Speer. I hope that you've enjoyed this week. It has been an awesome week. Thank you very much. Don't forget the seminar coming up on February the 16th up at Harbor Ministries. We will be there again live and in person from North Georgia Now Today. I'm Cherie Martin.
I'm Angela Burgess, and we don't like to say goodbye, so we'll say see you later.
See you later, only on ETC3, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 10 a.m., 6 to 7:30 p.m., and 1 to 2:30 a.m. Remember, some nights we're preempted for sports, and don't forget today, 5 o'clock, Rich Scott Trading Time. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, to Rich Scott and Trading Time. We'll see you again, only on ETC3.
You make the coffee, I'll make the bed, I'll fix your lunch.